You're not yes-anding right now. You're knowing
Yes,
you're not
and
yes-anding.
God, I'm such a bad podcast host. Recording.
It has always been what it always will be.
Wow. Deep.
Dude, it's late at night. I'm still drinking a coffee because we're doing this, so I'm ready to get deep. Let's do it.
Well, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Reaction Phase, your Monday morning Flesh and Blood podcast. Probably, I don't know if there's probably the only and thus best Monday morning Flesh and Blood podcast. I'm Louis. I'm joined by
I don't even know how to follow this up.
I'm joined by my good friend. Some may call him my best friend, Josh from Hometown TCG. Josh,
some may, some might not. Some might call you my best friend. Some might not call you my best friend. Some might call you some things that I will never say to your face. What's up, guys? My name is Josh. We're here to talk some Flesh and Blood, and we are off to a rousing start.
Hey, which one of us got called out in the comment section last week? Can't take a joke, but sure we'll give them. I was trying to figure out who it was, and I was like, it could be me, it could be you. Honestly, we both gave a lot of jokes, and we both take a lot of jokes. So
we do. I saw that, and I was like, I tried to like mentally play the episode back in my head. I'm like, which one of us is being pooped on right now? And I decided, I don't know if this was a defense mechanism because I'm weak. I just went, oh, it's probably Louis.
Yeah. Oh yeah, probably. That's fine. I can take a joke. I take jokes all the time. I got made fun. Anyway, I want to start a new segment in the intro.
Oh, I'm in.
And we won't be long, but how was your weekend?
Oh man, my weekend's been great. How's your weekend?
It's Monday, right? Everyone, like, I know we're like Sunday night. It's like, we're just gotta get this done. But like, what was like the best and worst part of your weekend?
Okay, the best part of my weekend was I had a bunch of locals over on Friday for the Hometown Throwdown, which is where that's just what I've named anytime we get together. Anytime we get together and like play Fab and run the stream, I've just decided to call it a Hometown Throwdown. And so eventually we'll get to episode 69 and it'll be sweet. So that was great. And then one of the guys is a chef. Shout out Zach. And he made like really awesome food. So he made all this delicious food. It was insane. It was a good time. What about you? What was the best part of your weekend? I know everybody's working for the weekend over there.
Dude, I worked all weekend. I've been working on my new studio area that I've been like remodeling and renovating. And I probably put like 20 to 30 hours in this weekend over Friday and Saturday. My dad flew out from Boston to help, and it's been a lot of work. Really? Yeah, like we it was completely gutted when we bought it, and now we are completely remodeling it. So this is the second weekend that he's been in, and like this was like drywall on the ceilings, repatching all the drywall on it was drop ceilings. We put up actual ceilings and light fixtures and all that stuff, and then this was like the finish weekend. So it's been awesome. So tomorrow we like got almost done painting, and then we were both like just burnt out. I like called my friend who had done some painting for me in the past. I was like, hey, can you I'll pay you to do this week. Can you finish this? Cause I'm done.
So can I just point out that not only are you like super suave, backwards hat, goatee guy, but then you like get shirtless and sweaty in front of your wife and work on the house and get all the manual labor done. Like,
no, my wife left this weekend. She took.
Like, I don't want to see any. I can't see this house until it's done. It's gonna ruin me.
All right, that's enough.
You talk. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No,
I was going to do one of my patented transitions. You just said you were hyper burnt out, and that's where I want to start the podcast today, because I feel like the entire community is with you, dude. I feel like everyone is with you.
You are the best transitioner in the world. It's so perfect. I love it. Competitive burnout is part one. Let's tell them what we're doing the whole podcast. We're gonna talk about competitive burnout. We're gonna talk about Blitz. Is it fun? And then we're gonna talk about the Bard that was released. So, competitive burnout. Yeah, man. I think people are feeling it. That's just this is the attitude I get from people who I'm close to, and just I kind of lurk on a bunch of the Facebook groups and Discord servers. And like it just seems like people are feeling like they're tired. Do you feel that way? I mean, you're playing in more events than I am.
Okay, so For the first time in a long time, I can speak to this. I skipped my
For the
local event
first
on
time
Tuesday.
in a long time. For the first time in a long
Give it to
time.
me deep.
I
Let me hear
feel
it.
free. Is that the words? I don't even know if that's the
I
ending.
don't even know what you're singing. I just
It's
it's
Frozen. I think that's
yes.
Frozen. I'm pretty sure that's Frozen.
Oh well, the kid count is 2-0, so this suddenly makes sense.
All right.
uh,
Sorry. How are
no,
you
you're
feeling on burnout?
no, you're fine. I skipped my local for the first time in a long time. If you wanted to jump back into it, I skipped my local and I messaged everyone. I was like, hey guys, just at the calling and then doing all of the content at the MinMax booth and everything, and then getting back and editing all the content. And the weeks leading up to it, helping the guys from Ascent with whatever they needed, whether it's play testing jerseys, anything like that, helping the locals. I just needed like a little brain break. And everyone's like, "Oh, let's go and draft. Let's go and draft." I'm like, I can't. I'm fine. If I could play a flesh and blood deck that I like have in front of me, I could have gone and sit down and like gone through the motions, but I couldn't make myself draft. And it was nice to just sit at home, like with the little fam here, pet my puppy, hang out, watch some Scrubs with my wife. It was nice. And I think that's common because most flesh and blood players have to be in a very, maybe not the exact same situation as me, but I think similar, where we're all a little older. We have other things going on. We have other responsibilities. So we can't just fab 24/7, right? We got to do other things.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly the person in the comment section who'll be like, "No, I'm fab 24/7." I mean, there's certainly those people, but I think for the
Sure.
most part, a lot of people feel the same way. Like I'm hearing a lot of skirmishes season stuff that isn't as big, like they're having lower numbers and it's like a more casual event. So like the
Okay.
question is, why are the numbers a little bit lower? Like I heard one of them had like 90 people at their pro quests, and they had like I think 20 or 25 or something like that at their skirmish, like
Okay.
numbers like that, which is like tells me that there's just so many events, which is a good thing. I mean, like it
Yeah.
is what it is. There's like so many events and so many opportunities that people are just like, a little bit exhausted. And then I mean we'll get into some other reasons that maybe people didn't want to go to skirmish events, but um I think one of the other things that I would acknowledge is a lot of people who already got their like they got their ticket, right? Like they got their, hey, I'm going to the pro tour.
Oh,
And
right,
they're
right.
like,
The
let me
yeah,
just take a mental break for a while, right? Like let me
right.
just
So the
take a mental
yeah,
break. And then on top of that, there's really no reason to be practicing right now. I mean, April 5th is the ban and restricted announcement, and either something's gonna happen and like all of your practicing is worthless, or alternatively, nothing happens and then it's just like I already practiced. I already lived in this meta. You know what I mean? Like
right, right, right.
I've already figured out what I'm building and what I'm playing. And like I think that the April 5th thing is keeping people from being like, hey, no, like this is a good time to take a step back. And I think it's important. And maybe we need to talk about that a little bit. Like whenever you're so into something, it's important to take a step back. Look, like I took a step back from collecting. Yeah, like I was so into it and like tracking down all these cards and whatever. And
Dude,
Everfest
you
came.
burned me out on collecting, and I wasn't collecting. Just like knowing you and
Yeah,
talking to you about what you were collecting all the time, I was like, "Whew, I need
like
I need a collector's break."
I took a step back on Everfest. Like I don't have a full set of Everfest. You know what I mean? I don't even have a full set of the cold foils.
I
Like
do.
I
Let's
have
go.
multiple sets of Tales of Aria,
Oh,
like
okay.
multiple sets of Monarch. Like I don't even have I don't even have a Fable. Like I took a step back because I was so ingrained in it and it was taking up so much of my brain power that like I couldn't enjoy it as much as if I just stepped away. And I think a lot of that is true even for competitive play, where like if you get an opportunity to take a step back, I think it's important. And
I
I think
think
that's
that's
what's
I think
happening.
Yeah, that's not. I wouldn't say that's super flesh and blood specific. I
Mm-mm.
think that's important with everything. I mean, and you talked about collecting. You didn't mention flesh and blood. You mentioned just like collecting as a whole, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of just took a step back from collecting as a whole. And I want to preface this because I think we're gonna get some pushback on calling out lower skirmish numbers and stuff like that. But I think this is fine. I I'm not looking this as like a doom and gloom when someone says we had 40 less people for or I don't know, 40. I don't remember the numbers you gave me. Numbers are hard, dude. Counting is just rough.
90
whatever
to
they were.
25. I don't know. It's like
You,
65 maybe.
whatever it was,
Taking a
that's
stab at it.
way more than 40. But I think that doesn't concern me, because I can imagine there's got to be a lot of people feeling the way I was, and feeling the way I know a lot of the locals are, that are just like, I just spent 3 days in Indianapolis playing this game, and like away from my family, away from my job. And then not only that, even the most casual of people going to Indianapolis, I'm sure we're practicing up to leading, because like you feel like you have to, going to a calling, even if it's not a ton. So I think after that, it's nice to be like, okay, I jammed all of this in. I binged the Fab. I need to like watch another show for a week or something, and then I'll get back into it.
So, as a diehard 100% in Flesh and Blood player, should you feel guilty? I'm just asking. LSS has a target, right? That target is like, you are the Flesh and Blood. You only play Flesh and Blood. You don't collect anything else. You don't invest in anything else. You don't play anything else. You don't whatever anything else. If that's LSS's target, does that person go to every single event, or is going to every single event just too much to ask of a consumer?
It's too much to ask of a consumer, and I'll give you a unique perspective. Was starting this back when John was appearing on the channel all the time, we were doing content together. We were also trying to support the local scene, right?
Yeah.
And we were going to 3 armories every week, not missing one. Went to 3 armories every week. We tried to make 5 videos a week. We did everything we could. And what that meant is one of the two suffered. We either weren't having fun at the armories, going to these armories felt like work, or we didn't make any content, right? So we couldn't do it. And I'm not saying everyone's a content creator, but replace content with anything in life, right? If you're doing these two things and you're trying to balance, and you go all in on this, all 100% all the time, and you go overboard, something else is going to suffer. There's only so many hours in the day. And I think it's fine that the hobby is the thing that you scale back and then you jump back into. I personally know someone, they took a break from Fab for like 2 months. They're like, oh, my real life got a little overwhelming. I stepped away, I stepped back, got everything. And now they're like, yeah, I bought some Everfest stuff. I'm back in, I'm playing. But I think that's completely fine. I think if LSS is targeting people like, you have to make every armory every single week, or you need to feel guilty, or you need to feel like you're missing out, I think that's a bad target, in my opinion. You need to target the people like, hey, we're an open, welcoming environment, and you can play this game as it fits in your life. And LSS's goal should be like, I want you to fit this game. I want you to like this game and this community, this environment so much that you fit it into your free hours. You make that choice. Instead of us guilting you and forcing you to these events, we want you to make the choice. And when you make that choice, it's a far more powerful movement than if you were like, oh, if I don't go, like the XP thing, like if I don't go, I miss out on my XP, I can't go to the Pro Tour. That's a bad feeling. Choosing to go is an awesome feeling.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And like I've been just on Facebook and seeing some people like a little bit negative towards the idea of like some events not firing and things like that. And hey, we have 3 LGSs in our area, and one of them has a regular event, but the other 2 are struggling to fire the regular events. Like,
right.
I think that's a lot of the reason, because all these major things, and I think that people need to understand that and remember that like, there's so many major events happening that your weekly events might suffer a little bit as a result, until we get kind of caught up and don't have, another ProQuest happening and another skirmish season and the thing after. I think those things at one after another are really good. But I also think that they do have a side effect of like this burnout, this like exhaustion of, and like that can be at an individual basis, that can cause more individuals to be like, hey, I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to take a 6-month break. I'm going to take whatever. So I think that's healthy.
I'm going to ask you something interesting then, because we see eye to eye on this, and I think you express it better than I do. And the I guess the overwhelming idea, the umbrella idea that I want to talk about here is the fact that for the game to be as successful as both you and I want it to be, it has to be carried by the casual community, the people that are choosing to play this game. from the armor. I'm not going to have the discussion whether the armory is casual or not, but let's just call it from the armory level down. I don't want to have the discussion because I get told both ways. I get told it's casual, and I get told that's where I practice for the pro quest. That's not the point of the discussion I want to have right here. I want from the armory all the way down to the kitchen table to me and my 6-year-old son playing while we're watching a TV show. Mm-hmm. All that community needs to be solid and wide for this game to be extremely successful. And do you think that it's not there? Because if it were, your local armories would still thrive after these competitive events, because those players aren't going to the calling. I think most of the players are going to the calling, and because of that, there's less than 50% of the players that don't in the local scene, and that means immediately after a calling, the local scene is going to struggle a little bit.
Or the week of the calling.
Or the week of the calling.
A lot of LGSs have told me too, where it's like, I
can't have an event this week. The calling's this week. Yeah.
Somebody was, this is a perfect example. Somebody was like, hey, I was talking to LGS and their Discord server, and the LGS owner was like, hey guys, when do you want me to schedule the skirmish season? It starts this week and goes this week. And the one of the people was like, well, that week I'll be at Pro Tour. You know what I mean? Like 5 of their people were going to Pro Tour. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like that's one of the weeks that you can schedule a skirmish event. Of course. So like I think my question for the casual community is what is there for the casual community? And if it's not armory events, then I don't think that there's an answer.
I agree with you. I think it's in a weird state of limbo right now, isn't it?
What else does LSS provide or create for the kitchen? So like if you look at Magic, and I think this is like what people don't understand, the success of Magic the Gathering is external to an LGS. Like,
yes,
the vast majority of Magic the Gathering players play at home with their friends and family, and many of them have never been in an LGS. And that is why the success of, a lot of them order product online, a lot of them, whatever. That's the success of Magic the Gathering, is that they have become such a household enjoyment. Because it's been here for 30 years. Like, listen, if Magic the Gathering came out this year as one of the 850 Kickstarter games this year, it would fail. Like Magic the Gathering would fail if it would launched now. And Flesh and Blood would 100%. If Flesh and Blood and Magic the Gathering started at the same time, Flesh and Blood would have destroyed Magic the Gathering. But Magic the Gathering has 30 years of people playing and teaching their friends and teaching their kids and collecting cards, and there's a
okay. It's more safe to say that more people have played Magic the Gathering, quit, and come back to Magic the Gathering than currently play Flesh and Blood.
I would. Sure, 100%.
Okay,
my response was that I kind of edited out there in my brain, but I guess I'll put into the world because this is a completely abstract number.
Sure.
I don't know if I want to say it, but I bet
don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm going to say it. I bet you since the release of Flesh and Blood 3 years ago, more people have quit Magic the Gathering and come back to Magic the Gathering than are currently playing Flesh and Blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since the release 3 years ago.
Oh,
there's a lot. The document just came out. There's 10 million Magic the Gathering players. That's their estimation. That's their estimate. And 50 million people have played the game. So that's a ton more. There's 25. Maybe on a good day you could use the number 25,000.
Let's
people have played through Gem.
Let's put this into the world, because I was talking to somebody.
We got on a huge tangent there.
We're on a huge tangent, but I like this tangent. I want to put this into the world. I was talking to somebody recently about the number of Gem accounts, and this person that will remain nameless but does listen to this podcast mentioned, I believe,
Mom,
that LSS said that there were 200,000 Gem accounts.
Can you just laugh at my joke? That was funny.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said, Mom. Listen to our podcast, but
I helped my mom fix my grandfather's computer today, and she does not. I was like, I have to get off in time to do the podcast. She's like, you do a podcast? I went, thanks, Mom.
The 200,000 number comes from that article that was also dove into Flesh and Blood having a Netflix show coming out, and said that Flesh and Blood was going to be involved with NFTs, and probably neither of those things are accurate. They also said that there were 20,000 competitive players, and they said that they gave a number that Flesh and Blood made in this year, and it seemed like a lot.
Okay.
Like if you do the multiplication on the number of boxes that they had to print like it seems like a lot of money. Or there's a lot more Monarch First Edition than I want there to be. A lot more.
Hold on. I listened to another podcast where I'm pretty sure you spent like 20 minutes soft dunking on me, and I was
I would never
soft dunking on me. You didn't mention me by name.
You are my favorite. You are my favorite podcast host.
That is not what George said. But after you soft dunked on me, I thought you said that we would have print numbers before that episode went live. And
we will have print numbers before this episode goes live.
I 100% agree with that because it goes live in 9 hours, and there's no way we don't have print numbers in 9 hours.
Oh yeah, I thought you had actual data that it was going to be live. I was just saying it because it was funny.
Well, I'm just all in. But I want to put this in the ether, and I don't know. I'm terrified of this, but because I think I'm going to get just roasted for it. How many Flesh and Blood players do we have right now? I have a number already in my head, and No.
Okay, I know. I'm saying the gem number is like 16,000, something like that. That's the number of people in the last.
What do you mean? I thought you said the gem number was 200,000.
No, that's the number that the article said was that there were 200,000 Flesh and Blood players. That's what the article said.
Yeah, I thought that was done by like the count of gem IDs.
No.
Oh, how was that number?
The person I know who the person you're talking about is who says that they know the number of gem IDs.
Okay.
And it's like between 16 and 18,000 or something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. So the gem IDs are between 16 and 18,000.
And if I understand correctly, that is the last 90 days people who have tracked at least 1 XP.
Okay, so people who have played in an event in the last 90 days.
And had to have won at least 1 game. So take 16,000 and maybe it's 32,000.
Yeah, let's double it.
Just double it.
But then we should account for I know that there's a game store local to me, and I won't say any specific name of the game store run by a specific person that I'm not hugely fond of, but I know that they have made gem IDs for their cousin Larry and their 6-year-old and sign them up for events to maybe seem more favorable. Do you know what I mean? Stuff of that nature. So we have to account for a couple of those. So I want to ask you again, how many, I don't care, active, inactive, I don't care if they're Pro Tour players, I don't care if they're kitchen table players. How many Flesh and Blood players are in the world today?
50,000.
Wow. Okay.
What were you going to say?
I don't want to say it anymore.
What are you going to say?
I don't want to say it anymore. I was going to say 100,000 because I believe in this game so much more than you do.
What were you actually going to say?
I was going to say 25,000. 25,000 was my
So I guess my number. So somebody told me we are way in the weeds right now. That's fine. This is now part 2.
I think this is
how many people play the game.
I think this is an important discussion. I really do.
This is the key. This does qualify to competitive burnout because this is a result of Flesh and Blood being a competitive game. I would venture to say that the 20,000 number comes from using a standard metric of Magic the Gathering where they say, hey, we believe that 1 in every 10 people who play Magic the Gathering play in an LGS. I'm just making this number up. I think that there's probably like in the article or in the interview, I think somewhere that he said, that number is derived from industry standards, which would be Magic the Gathering, right? So whatever
think that's
multiplier.
Completely fair.
So, okay, we have 20,000 gem accounts and we use the standard multiplier and now we have 100 or 200,000 players. That's their attitude. Okay. I don't think that's true for Flesh and Blood because it's being like, I don't think that was true of Magic the Gathering in 1998. Whenever it started, 1994, 1995. I don't know. I was 2.
I don't know.
Yeah,
wait, you were 2?
I was born in 92. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so much older than you.
How old are you?
Oh, I hate this. I was
Anyway.
born in 88.
Oh God, you are old.
I
You're like,
know. God,
yeah.
I'm like a
Okay.
silver fox.
Anyway, but like, back then, like the game was only growing at local game stores. That's it,
Right.
and it was,
That was it.
it grew really rapidly into
So
other things, whatever.
right.
But like now, 30 years later, you have all that that like people inviting people and playing games at home or whatever, and you don't have that for Flesh and Blood right now.
You just made an amazing point. Everybody who plays Flesh and Blood has a gem ID. Theoretically, again, there'll be someone in the comments. I don't have a gem ID.
Yeah.
99% of people who play Flesh and Blood have a gem ID.
I don't think it's 99%, but a lot. I get what you're saying.
A lot of people, most people, but there are a good pool of people that will play Magic the Gathering that don't have a DCI number. It's still DCI number, right?
I don't think so. I think you have to use your arena account. I think that's how it is.
That's freaking awesome. That's amazing. But yeah, there's a wider pool there of players, like a percentage wise, that have never that play Magic the Gathering that just don't have a digital reference number or something like that.
I want to say this though. This is not a bad thing.
No.
Like the only way that this is a bad thing is if they printed boxes thinking that there's 200,000 players. That would result in a lot of an overprinting of boxes.
Yeah. Yes.
I have full faith because I own a once $13,000 eye, and I have put my money where my mouth is. I have full faith that LSS would not print to 200,000 for a estimate of their size. I don't think they actually think that that's the number. I think they are smarter than that. The article, I don't know, it could have misquoted them, whatever. It could just be like, hey, we're trying to be impressive for people. Like, I don't think it's bad if there's 25,000 people playing the game. That's an amazing feat for 3 years in the road. No other TCG 3 years ago who started could say that now.
Yes, so you're correct, and I know we're gonna get pushback on this, fine. but this is good. This is a good thing. I think the game is growing, but it leans back into this whole idea of competitive burnout. Watch me not only transition, but bring it all around. When the player base is, and I'm not saying it's only 25,000, like, oh, it's a low number, but it's 25,000 people. It's not the millions and millions of Magic. That means when a lot of these people their mind is on these events and then they happen, there's not that core contingency of players that don't ever attend events, that just FNM, that just Armory, to carry the local scene in between, right? So it kind of it creates this weird up and down wave that you ride with Flesh and Blood, and it's very cool. But I'd love to see that like start to level out a little bit and start to be more consistent. And they'll always be up and down. Every game is always going to have its ups and downs. I just want to see that level out and get to a little more consistent spot.
Yeah. And this transitions pretty well into our second part, which is like, is Blitz fun? Is Blitz a format for that kind of every person, like what I want for PvE? Obviously, I talk a lot about player versus environment, a casual format that would be,
yes.
So World of Warcraft did it. Everyone always asks whenever I mention it, what is PvE? It's player versus environment. So either somebody would be playing a arch enemy deck, basically, or
Flesh and Blood arch enemy would be awesome. Nobody knows what arch enemy was a thing for like a week and a half, and it should have been longer. It was cool. Yeah,
it's a Magic thing where somebody plays a giant enemy, right? And you're all trying to beat the enemy, and like, so I think Flesh and Blood needs a casual format. Like, I think, honestly, I think Commoner can fit this bill if they decide to actually support Commoner and tell us if we're allowed to use rare heroes or majestic heroes or whatever, that kind of thing.
Right.
Like, I think like if we get some more support for those kind of formats, it can be really good. The question of like, is Blitz fun, I think has been going around a lot lately. And I don't think LSS knows what they're doing with Blitz. Like they make Blitz this, like Blitz is randomly the pro tour or pro something. Isn't it one of the major events overseas?
Is it?
Yeah, it's in one of the countrywide things is Blitz.
But could that be, now hear me out again, maybe less access to product, right? A newer community, 2 copies of everything, smaller decks, less intense games. There's less, with the sideboard mechanic and the choosing your equipment and stuff like that. Blitz is a more beginner friendly version of the game, and because of that, you give up some of that. I mean, you'll hear from the hometown TCG Ascent guys all the time, like Blitz is just not it's not a competitive format. That's what they'll scream from the mountaintops. But that doesn't mean it's bad, right? It's a great way when you're starting the game to go get a bunch of games in Flesh and Blood. And it's when you learn anything, the more you can do the mechanics over and over again and, quote unquote, do the thing, the better you're going to feel. And you can kind of build up to that. But in the same breath, should Blitz just be the casual format? Like, is that how you should play Flesh and Blood casually?
I think so. Listen,
I think that's fair.
CC is a grind, and CC is long. An hour-long game is long, and CC requires so much competitive knowledge.
Oh my god, it does. I mean, the saying "the better player wins" is true. You're right.
Yeah, for a player to sit down and see the opposing hero and be like, these are the cards I'm sideboarding. This is exactly what that hero does. This is exactly what I'm doing. That is not a new player friendly environment.
No,
it's just not.
No.
And that's what I think Blitz wins is like, you don't do the sideboarding thing off the bat. Really, you don't do it ever. I think Blitz would be better as a best of 3 instead of best of 1. Listen, somebody told me, I saw another person who was like, skirmish this weekend was rough. Somebody won round 1 in like 7 minutes. So what do you do?
That's super common.
Like, I mean, like, what do you do? Like, you sit down and you play your round for 7 minutes. It's like watching football. You watch a 4-hour football game and you watch 14 minutes of actual gameplay on average in a 4-hour football game.
I really like football season. I really like football season.
You should go and watch hockey, which would be like the equivalent of classic constructed, where you watch 3 hours of sports and you see 2 hours and 45 minutes of sports. It's a good return on your investment.
I really like football season, dude.
I don't want to go. I'm sorry, but I don't want to go all the way. I don't want to drive 2 hours to my LGS. This is some people.
Yes,
I don't want to drive 2 hours to my LGS to play 4 rounds of Blitz, which I will get a combined total of I can't do that math. 28 minutes. 28 minutes of gameplay. You know what I mean?
Dude, you barked yourself into a corner there. You're like, oh no, what do I do here? No, but what about why don't you play games in between then? Like, I just play my opponent. The game goes
for sure.
7 minutes, right? And they're like, hey man, you got the win. Let's play another one. Now, often you'll get those crazy competitive opponents like, nope, I'm going to my next game. My mind's in it. More often than not, I think you'll get the player who's just goes, yeah, okay, and just jam another game. And we had, I just recently played a Kano Icelander, a 4 of, against Mo Bogsley, another content creator. We were just hanging out, playing games. And the first 2 games took like, I don't know, the full like 20 minutes each, 22 minutes. And then the third game took like 3 minutes and it was just over. Like, that's just, sometimes that happens. It gets wild. So I love Blitz as the casual format, right? I think that is sweet. I think that's a good space for it. And I know we have the argument about like what PvE can be and what pit fight can be, but in the world we exist in now, I would love to like get together with you and champion to the community. Like, let's make Blitz like this kitchen table casual format where everyone just sits around, because you can 4 of us can get together and we can all play games against each other in an hour and a half, have a couple beers, and then go home.
I'm not in.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I want to be on your side. I do, because I want there to be a casual format. I think it's got to be a 4-player thing. Like, I think it's got to be. You've got to be able to play with your friends and go back and forth on the table.
It has to be 4-player.
Like, it has to be like a dynamic where everybody can sit and play. Like the casual format. Like, listen, I get what you're saying. No, I get it. We used to do that with Magic.
Exactly.
Like, listen. Hold on. Let me say this.
Okay.
We used to do that with Magic in college but Commander didn't exist. Like, right. Commander wasn't a thing. And like, if if I was in college now, I would not build a 60 card deck of all these different cards and play back and forth with a bunch of people like we did. I'd be like, no, let's just play Commander because it's better and more fun.
That's definitely more like I have a roommate thing. The problem with Commander, okay, this is where I think that there's controversy here with Blitz being
By the way,
we're like,
hold
yeah.
on. Before you get to problem Commander, the calling in I can't pronounce this. The calling in I should have like looked up where it is in Krakow. Krakow, did I pronounce that right?
Yes.
Okay. is Blitz.
Okay, so that's the one you were
That's
mentioning.
one. Yeah.
Okay. Dude, kudos to you for like podcasting and Google research in the free time.
Anyway, tell me about your Commander opinions in our Is Blitz Fun class.
No, this makes sense. This makes sense. This is a spicy one. The problem with we're advocating for Blitz because it's not like 50 minutes is a long game, right? We're saying that 50 minutes is a long.
You are advocating for Blitz. I have said in this conversation, I don't think Blitz should be the casual format.
We are advocating for Blitz. You are on my side. You're not yes-anding right now. You're knowing yes, you're not yes-anding.
God, I'm such a bad podcast host.
No, yes, and great. I love it. The problem is all of these game types, Commander games, when you sit down and commit to a game of Commander, it gets to the point where some of these games take 2 hours. And it's very little. So we're into the football territory where it's 2 hours, and I've played for a combined 20 minutes.
Yeah, and your friend's still on their like third turn, like taking the entire
100%. Like these things can happen, and Commander is like the format that if you talk bad about it, everyone hates you. But hot take, some games of Commander are freaking awful. They're terrible.
Yeah,
some games of Commander are just terrible, and it just happens. And you don't have to advocate for it all the time. A game of Commander would be way better is if all 4 of you got together and you had 2 hours and you could get through 3 or 4 games, guaranteed. Every time we get, but Blitz can be that, right? Now, can UPF, and again, UPF, PvE, whatever it might be. But with Blitz, you're guaranteed to like sit down and you're going to get through several games, meaning it's a higher chance you avoid like the feels bad all day long. Yeah, you can get Kaio high rolled 3 turns in a row and be like, well, I just lose in 5 minutes. But most of your games are going to go longer than that.
Yeah. So listen, I think Blitz is great.
Perfect.
I think that Blitz is better of best of 3. Like give me give me best of 3.
2 different directions. Because I want it too, but if I'm making Blitz a competitive format, it's best of 3, and it's not an 11 equipment slot. It's a 7 card sideboard that can be used for equipment or cards.
But like it doesn't have to be. I think it makes it more fun because as a person, I can, if I hop in and play against you, and you wreck me. It's just over. And like, that's not as much fun. Now the fun side for me is like, I got wrecked round 1. I have no clue what I'm doing playing against you, but let's see what I can figure out with my sideboard. I'm going to throw this in. I'm going to throw that in.
Right.
Like,
but now are we approaching that problem with sideboarding? Remember we talked about like, it's less new player friendly because now you got to know, and you got to build the sideboard.
My point with that with CC was like, you have one shot at this.
Oh, that's okay. That's
you don't know what you don't know what the hero does. I don't know what, if I'm a new player, I don't know what Bravo does. So I have no clue what to sideboard. Listen, this is prime Louis content here because like I would go to Friday Night Magic with my net decked Magic deck. With my net deck sideboard,
and you just get smashed. You'd be like, I hope I have something in the toolbox for this.
I get smashed round 1 and be like, they beat me with this card. Let me look at my sideboard. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Look at it. That seems like it would be good against that card. Throw it in the deck, and I'd win the second and third game. Like, it's great. As a casual player, it was great. Because if you have a knowledge of how to play and you can read the cards, you can play the game. So like,
and it gives you a moment to like feel good about yourself too. We're like, I knew nothing about this. I got smashed round 1, but like maybe I still lost the match, but I won game 2 because I figured out like, oh, this is what they're trying to do, and I figured out how to counter it. I see what you're saying there, and I kind of like it. I'm into it. That's cool.
I think for Flesh and Blood, the casual side will come. I'm not sure. I
I
get
think
the
it
I get
needs
the
to get here
idea.
quick.
I know, but here's the issue, and this is what I was gonna say. I get the feeling that LSS is kind of like, hey, why isn't the community making the casual game? And like, man, I don't know.
And
I get that. Like, listen, Commander was created by the community.
I've made that argument to you on this podcast, I think.
Yeah, like Commander was created by the community, but
Right.
like, eh, now it's time to like compete with Commander. You know what I mean? Like somebody,
Right. You
why?
can't wait. You can't wait on your community when your game is on the line. You need to
Yeah,
like come up with
and
something.
like,
Yeah.
and like, not that it needs to be as good as Commander, because you're right. Like Commander's not that good. Um, like Commander has its inherent flaws, but what Commander's really, really good at is like getting people around a table and having fun.
There's
Like
no well,
there's no better Magic the Gathering
mm,
uh format than that. Maybe
modern.
like,
Sorry, go
no,
ahead.
stop it. Maybe modern, so we can play our 3-minute games with 3 turns and the first one to win in 3 turns. Oh, fun. Oh,
That
that's
is
a lot
not
of
how
fun.
modern goes, sir. Oh my
I know.
god, you've offended me at a spiritual level.
But
You will not mock my favorite format on this podcast.
I think Blitz is fun. It can be more fun. It can be funner. We can create a word. It can be more fun. And I think one of the ways to do that is by making it best of 3. I think it's a better experience for a player, which is fun. And then the other thing I would like to say, Magic promoted the heck out of Friday Night Magic. Like, I don't know if you were definitely around back then because you're like 7 years older than me.
The constant kick in the nads.
I think it's only 4 too. I think
I
it's
know,
only
yeah,
4.
I know. You're
Uh,
exaggerating.
like, I was saying, they promoted the heck out of Friday Night Magic. It was everywhere. That was their slogan. That
Sure.
was when you saw their logo at the end of the ESPN thing. It was the Friday Night Magic
The
logo.
FNM. Yeah.
Yeah, it was everything.
Yeah.
It was a marketing campaign, and it was everything. And like armories, they're all over the place. It's a completely, you never know what you're gonna get from area to area, which is pretty true to Magic too. Like some do sealed, some do some did modern, some did standard, kind of depended what was in that area. But like
Right.
I think pumping up the marketing towards armories and being like, this is the place to play Flesh and Blood. But I think what they do is the next event is the place to play Flesh and Blood. Skirmish is the place to play Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
Go to your skirmish, go to the skirmish. And that then implies that everyone goes to this area. And, they do, instead of being local at home at your local LGS for 6 weeks, you're at your local LGS's skirmish, and then you're at a skirmish 2 hours away that way, and then you're at skirmish an hour away that way, and then you're going to this skirmish, and it's just this constant, like, and it doesn't create that excitement. So I think there like some marketing, some like, go back to that, like your armory event at your local store. That is our premier place to enjoy Flesh and Blood.
Sure.
Like, that seems like we've gotten away from that. I think that would also be more fun. So.
I think so too, but I also think it's part of the crowd that Flesh and Blood has attracted right now. What happened, right? First it was the tendies rush, so you attracted all the people that wanted to like make money, of course. And then
those jerks.
I'm not saying
that's the worst type of person.
I'm not saying you're a horrible greed monster, but when you mature and grow older like the rest of us, you'll see the error of your ways. The second player that Flesh and Blood attracted was like the Magic the Gathering player that was like, they canceled the Pro Tour. No more Pro Tour, no more competitive Magic, moving it all online. And all those players, I mean, I told you several times, my Twitter feed, because I followed all these Magic players, not even the hometown TCG one, my personal Twitter feed was like, we're all moving to Flesh and Blood. It was like this giant influx of all of a sudden my personal account that never followed any Flesh and Blood content was full of flesh and blood people because it was everyone switching. So it's attracted this player who wants to play at even if they don't play at the highest level of the Pro Tour, they want to play at the Pro Tour level. And when that's the culture, it's tough to build that casual foundation of players. So it's partly is the problem of players that we've attracted. We need to start attracting the commander players. We need to start attracting the starter deck players, right? People who play Blitz. We need to start attracting that level of player to build that foundation. We're never going to turn these hyper competitive individuals into that. We have to pull that in from outside.
Yeah. Or you could just be smaller and not compete with Magic. And like there is a world here where it's like, no, we're going to be the competitive TCG. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And we're going to just, if we want to be a competitive TCG with the collectability, we're going to put less boxes. Yep. We're going to allow prices to be higher. That gives us the, if that's what they want. Like, honestly, I'm not going to lie. I think that competing with Commander is a big task. And that's why I'm so...
Oh, you're not wrong at all. Yeah.
That's why I think there's so much pressure on PvE. And why I think that they should do it, because that's me. That's me. Like,
okay, so PvE to you is like the great influx of that community, and I see what you're saying. I would want Commander, just because it's proven to me. Arch Enemy sticks in my mind as something that was just amazing, and for some reason didn't catch on. That game mode, it makes for fun content. Like, there's discussion on both sides of the table. There's this big bad that you're fighting. Do you know what I mean? There's like the feel of hero versus villain. It makes for great content. It makes for a fun and engaging atmosphere, and it didn't catch on. So anytime you bring up PvE, I think fondly of this experience that for some reason got ousted and just didn't quite make it. So I don't want to lean on PvE being that influx and that equalizer, because just based in my history, even when it's great, it doesn't make it for some reason. Again, I don't understand it, but it will have to be something like UPF. It'll have to be something like that.
Listen, I mean, you and I have talked about UPF. We did not enjoy our UPF streams, and it was just like finding the right people. There's a lot to it, but like,
I think that people have to approach it. It's like, I think we have to approach it like a commander pod. And I maybe we should try this again. I don't want to open the door again, but
here's what I don't like about Ultimate Pit Fight.
Okay.
I can't attack everyone. Like if you are the big bad guy and I'm over here and I can't see you, then I can't help the table at all. I am forced to continue to help around. And like,
so
why.
Let me hit you with a rule shift on the fly right now off the top of your head.
Let's go.
You can attack anybody, but if I was attacked, if I just got attacked, I get a token that says I cannot be attacked again. It lasts one turn. So Louis, you attack me from across the table. I just get this token. So the person who goes next can't attack me. But then before it's my turn again, I give away the token and can be attacked again.
Yeah, and the token could be something really cool. And that could be like the LGS co-play Ultimate Pit Fight at your LGS. And like,
oh, the token could be a double-sided. What if
a double-sided hero?
A double-sided hero. And what if the double-sided hero was something that I absolutely hate so much right now?
Your transitions are so good. The Bard. All right.
No, I was just furious. So hold on. Before we go, let's just wrap this up. Would you be down to try to like theorize something with me and then maybe put something on tape and see if it works? And maybe it's a huge disaster.
I would be down for that. Sweet. Down like a clown, Charlie Brown.
But are you down like a bard? Because I am not down with the Bard. Let's talk about the Bard that was announced as the promo for the Pro Tour #1, numero uno in New Jersey. They're giving out. Okay, hold on. Let me put on my positivity hat. They're giving out a ridiculously sick-looking promo. It's double-sided, it's cold foil, and it has an ability that will make you want to tear your hair out more than the hair that is missing on the rest of Louis' face, except for like right here.
I do it one more time because it was covered. You can tell them where the hair was. I was showing them what the hero was.
I'm not gonna. No, that's naughty. I'm not doing that.
Okay, here's like I'm gonna come out and say it because they have not done this yet.
Do you want to just play my voicemail?
No, I didn't even listen to it yet. I don't know what it says.
Yeah, I might have cursed. Don't do it.
There is absolutely 100% no way that this hero, Yorick, Weaver of Tales, is a playable hero in any format. It will be, in my opinion, 100% on the banned and restricted announcement, saying that just like the Rudy promo card, it is
that's going to be on the BNR.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. That's when it would pop up. Right, like it's never going to be a card until then, and it's just like, hey, by the way, Yorick is a fun card that we wanted to make for you to enjoy the Pro Tour.
It's just like the
Rudy. It's just gonna be like the Rudy and Go Bananas, and it's the LSS promo, LSS 004. So
it's
like
Dustblade 2. It's not out yet, but it's banned.
No, not like that. This is a positive thing. I'm not being negative. I'm trying to be positive.
Oh, just mess.
Like,
no, yeah, okay.
There's no way. The hero thing says, this is what it says, if you didn't read this. At the start of the game, all heroes shuffled their starting decks together. All heroes shared the same deck and graveyard this game. So imagine, if you will, you're geared up. You're ready to go to your skirmish event. And you're like, man, I'm going to win and I'm going to practice. And Louis shows up and you get paired with Louis round 1, and you and Louis stick your decks together, shuffle them up and play a game.
Really enunciate on deck for me. Really enunciate there.
You guys shuffle them together and you play your game. Like, why? What are we doing? There's no way that this is legal.
No way.
There's no way. I'm sorry. Which is fine.
That's totally fine. It's totally fine to have sweet promos.
I love it.
Aren't playable. That's totally fine. Like the Rudy card, not playable, right? But totally fun and cool to own.
Go
and
get
like
yourself some slabs. Have you tried having more money? Go get some slabs. You don't have PSA 10 slabs. That's like the super popular Flesh and Blood grading company is PSA. Everyone uses it.
I can't keep up with which grading company you hate.
Nobody uses PSA.
So I don't know if you're dunking on.
There was a lot of sarcasm in that entire statement.
Yeah, there was. I know you dunk on certain grading companies, but I can never keep up.
No, I have never dunked on a grading company. I have dunked all the cards into one pile of water, and one grading company didn't last. But other than that,
sorry, my mistake. That's what I meant. I misspoke. Yeah. But anyway, okay.
This is a sweet card, and we finally got the Bard everyone was waiting for.
I wanted the Bard to be like playable though, like cool. But
so you agree with me then? It's not gonna be playable.
Listen to my voicemail. I called you. I was setting up for the stream. I saw the spoiler, posted in the Discord, and I called you. And I went, "Hey, no, don't play it on stream." I don't know if I cursed, but I was like, I said something along the lines of, "Hey, I don't know if you saw the Bard. Wanted to give you my take on it. I hate it. Thanks."
No, I think it's cool. Look, it's
no.
James
it's
White
cool.
playing a mandolin.
It's cool if it goes that route. If it's unplayable and nobody can play,
there's no way this is playable. I will. You want to make a bet? Let's make a bet.
No,
I bet you a box of Crew One.
I don't have a box of Crew One. You're baller. We get it. Like, oh, we can fine.
Yeah, it used to be that way.
I painted my second house. Like, great.
Oh, stop.
I know. It was kind of
not
cool,
a second house.
But you made fun of me for being old. So.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Maybe I am the one. I can take it. Everyone. I can take it. I dished it out, and I can take it. Give it to me again so I can take it better.
This is the intro, right?
No.
That's the intro, right? So if it goes your route, I am super excited. This is a heavy swinging pendulum for me. You're gonna take a very heavy swinging pendulum right now. If it goes your route and it's banned and you can't play it, I love this card. If you can, and they just rely on nobody will ever play this. That's not happening.
I will show
someone's going to
someone's
going to at the calling. Because just because it's a young hero doesn't mean you can't play it in CC. You can play young heroes in CC, and they're going to show up with it, and everyone they see, they're just going to flip off and be like, we have to shuffle our decks together, guys. And we're like, oh,
and now
what is
it's
this?
a complete coin flip. On your first round, you're gonna get
I mean,
probably more realistically, you're gonna get a draw. You're gonna get a draw as you shuffle your 40 card deck.
How does that work though? If you're the bard and you draw a warrior card,
I have no clue.
Can you play the warrior card?
It can't work. It can't be a real thing.
So I agree. If they say like you can't play this card, I'm so down. This is so cool. If they just lean on no one will ever do that. I'm so mad because someone's going to do it at a high level event, and that'll annoy me.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's cool though. Like I like that they're doing something to celebrate everybody getting together, and
I think that's sick. Yeah,
I
just
think
don't make it legal. Just don't make it legal.
I think it. I think it pays homage to like what the community wanted, which was a bard in Tales of Aria, and we didn't get it. So like that's cool. Obviously bards should not be actual characters because the idea of a bard playing music and beating somebody up is they sing. What is this magic? What is this? They're singing magical notes.
Listen, you sang earlier, and you did so much damage to me while singing. It was insane. You almost won the game in one turn.
I'm gonna get a lot of Dungeons and Dragons hate for that statement in the comment section because bards are pretty sweet in reality.
Bards are sweet, and bards should be playable.
For like a fighting game. Like imagine you're playing Mortal Kombat and like I'm what's the skeleton guy? Baby. I'm Scorpion and you're the bard. And I'm like, get over here, and you're like, blah 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 blah.
Bro, it's all about skill, and this is what we're gonna do, right? Next time we see each other, I'm gonna give you a big old heavy mace, right? And you're a pretty strong guy. I'm gonna give you and I'm gonna walk up, and because I'm bigger and stronger than you, and probably faster, I'm going to hit you over the head with my electric guitar, and I'm going to knock you out and be like, boom, bard wins. Look at all this bard damage. And while you sit there on the floor crying about how OP bard is, I want you to remember this moment.
Can you actually play mandolin? Because an electric guitar is much different than a mandolin. I own 2 mandolins.
You're a loser. What? You own 2 mandolins?
My Louis the First. I'm Louis the Fourth. Louis the First came over from Italy with mandolins.
Wait, you came over from Italy? Hold on. From where?
I didn't come over.
No. Where did Louis the First?
I'm the first.
Yeah, where'd the good one come from?
From Sicily.
Like actual Sicily? I'm from Brindisi.
Yes. Actual Sicily. I don't know what Brindisi is. Is that by Sicily?
Brindisi is a small port town
located. You're from Vin Diesel?
Yes, I'm from Vin Diesel. No, it's a small port town in the heel of the boot. I moved here when I was like, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, something like that.
No, like you are from there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
How did I not know this?
Can we go visit?
Yeah, absolutely. We've never visited each other in our home state, but yeah,
let's go vacation to Italy.
Absolutely.
All right.
My wife will love that. If I come upstairs and tell her anything about TCGs or podcasts, she's like, oh, hey, that's sweet. And she pats me on the head. She's adorable and she loves me. But I'm like, hey, we're going to Italy. She'd be like, oh, yes, I love card games. Let's play all the card games.
Oh, that's great. This is part 5. We're from Italy.
Dude, I normally do a pretty good job of trying to keep us on track.
This is a good podcast.
I love this. This is so much fun.
People are going to listen to us or not. It doesn't matter what we talk about. The bard. We talked about this at the beginning of the episode. There's not a whole lot to talk about.
There's not a whole lot. There's just one. Yes, there is not a whole lot to talk about this week. It's burnout. It's burnout. It all comes back circle to burnout. It's real.
Next week we will have the band restricted announcement to talk about.
So when we brought up the banned restricted announcement earlier, I pulled up the calendar. I'm like, do we have one more episode? Because otherwise, we do. Because I was like, otherwise, this should be here right now. We should be talking about this.
We have
one more episode. I was saying if we didn't have one more
episode. We have an episode before it, or it's going to be after it?
We have an episode before it. So we have a window.
Where it's like, what do we think is going to happen? And then we're wrong. I love being wrong. There's nothing more fun than being wrong.
Did you make a whole video on bingo?
On bingo?
Yeah, did you make a whole video on bingo?
Oh, how it was like super good.
Because I did.
Oh, the fake one.
Yeah. Did you do that?
I did not.
Oh no, you didn't do that.
No,
okay.
No.
That's right. I'm the most wrong. I win.
Congrats. All right. What's next? What are we talking about? The market?
We're talking about the market. What is there? Okay. I came in. I had some market spice last week. I'm out of market spice. I shot it all.
Market's weird. I saw a $500 crew box that maybe it was $550 that still hasn't sold. Crew first. So, like, the market's soft, but listen, like, all TCG markets are very soft right now.
Yes.
Most TCG markets are very soft. All alternative TCG markets are very soft right now. Pokemon, Magic, they're fine. They're definitely not like booming. Yeah, but like they're not like Fab or any of the other alternative TCGs.
So
it's funny. It's funny. If you're in the Fab Discords and Fab Facebook groups, everyone's like, Fab's crashing, and people are saying, have you seen Metazoo? And if you're in the Metazoo Discord and Marketplace, everyone's like, Metazoo's crashing, and people are like, have you seen Fab? It's like both of them just are like looking at each other being, no, that one's down more. No, that one's down more.
Worse.
No, that one's worse.
Is it the Spider-Man meme?
We're horrible, but you're worse. We're horrible, but you're worse.
Yeah. What's a third TCG we can throw in here to make the Spider-Man meme?
Any of them. I mean, like, one of the 15 Kickstarter games this week.
That's I can't.
Yeah, dude, there's a million. It's crazy. Welcome to my channel. This is all we do now.
I have a Legions video coming out this week, and I'm so stoked about it, and I love the game so much, and then I feel like I'm getting blasted. I just picked this new game up. I'm just going to talk about this new game, and I feel like I'm just getting smacked in the side of the head with another new game. I'm like, I can't keep up. I don't know how you do it.
Legions is the only $150 card that I've sold this week, so I don't know what to tell you about Legions.
Hey, are you going to sign a Louis card for me for Legions?
No, absolutely not. No. What? Why would you ask me to do that?
Why not? Wait, what? Why?
Fine. Yes. All right. Back to the market.
This is the market. Sign a Louis card for me.
Okay.
I want to be a millionaire.
I will sign a Legion's Louis card. That makes me feel awkward. Really awkward with you asking.
Good. I'm glad I asked you on stream then. This is way better.
When people ask, it's just weird. Like,
I got to the point where I started refusing to sign the Herald of Protection promos. Because I was like, guys,
those are selling for $50.
I was like, these are worth money. Like, I don't want, as soon as I write on it with a marker, no longer worth money. Like,
I've been giving out 3 Herald of Protection promos at each armory event, online armory event, since I got them. I just ran out like this last week. Like, no one's gonna sign up anymore.
I've been giving them out. If I'm at an event and you saw me, I finally ran out. And I was like, if you saw me and you're like, oh, you're the hometown TCG guy, I'm like, you win. And I just literally would pull one out of my bag and be like,
that's great.
Like hotcakes. It was insane. But I think I made a decision this week, and I don't know if it's market based or not, but I think I'm at the point where I don't want flesh and blood bulk anymore. I wanted it around to constantly build all these decks. And I don't know if this is because of the market, and I don't think it is, but I want to keep 6 copies of everything, and then the rest of it out the door. And I wonder if people have a really similar feeling on stuff like this, because I feel like I can't open any new product because I just have so much stuff, like bulk stuff lying around. And is there a market for that? It's like, as the market guy, and I want to get rid of my bulk, how does one go about doing that?
I just got $500 for 2 88-pound boxes of WTR bulk.
That's a I don't know number of cards based on
a lot. It was like I think it was like, I don't know, 15,000 cards, something like that. It was a lot of cards.
Jeez.
But like, I don't know. There's people who do it.
A buddy just bought bulk from a game store, and they were like, we don't want to do Fab singles anymore. They bought bulk. They got a bunch of Alpha Majestics, an Alpha Foil Rhinar in there, and then Alpha Foil Sinks, Alpha Foil Sigils.
Everyone, go buy all the bulk from your LGS.
It was insane. And I know he watches this podcast, and he's watching right now. He was like, I woke up the next morning. It was all these messages. He's like, oh, I'm glad I bought that bulk. It was offered to all of us. And I was in this mode. Like, I don't want bulk anymore. He's like, I'm glad I paid, $100 some odd for this bulk, because I just made, $15K 5K or $1,500 in cards. And I was like,
Awesome.
what just happened? I was like, what is going on? It was insane.
And the market, I mean, the whole market seems soft. The high end fab market is, I would use the word illiquid, not soft. Like, I don't think prices are. I don't know. I guess there were some auctions that ended tonight that I was watching that I haven't actually looked at. I don't think like prices are tanking, but like nothing's selling, and nobody is like being like, "Hey, I'm going to lower my prices." But it does seem like even the player market, like there, I think Arc was down 15% this week for unlimited singles, but like that makes sense to me. Like we just ended ProQuest.
Don't you think a bunch of people, and again, we talked about a lot of people influx, from Magic, and they're these players that they buy cards, they build the deck, and then they sell the cards. Yeah. Do you think that we're going to see that kind of with the tournament scene? The market's just going to move with it?
So those auctions that I was watching are ended now.
Okay.
Goliath Gauntlet Cold Foil, $214. Barkbone Strapping Cold Foil, $163. Heart and Cross Strap.
Those are playable cold foils.
Playable of 800 and there's 1,000. There's 1,111 or something like that.
It just fascinates me when you know those numbers off the top of your head.
Well, you can do the math. There's 12
Talk
of
market
them.
To me.
There's 12. You can do the math. I think it's 1,000. No, it's 1,024. I think it is. Anyway.
Okay.
So like those were at $1.7 to $800 card. Yeah, those were at one point between $500 and $800 cards, depending on which cold foil common.
Okay.
I bought a bunch of them at $300 and $350.
Okay.
Those are now worth between $150 and $300. You know what I mean? Like the market.
Yeah. It's gonna shift.
It's just low. But like I think you're saying, I agree with what you're saying. Like people buy their deck and now they sell it, and like that's why the players market's soft. So
okay,
I don't know. Listen, you can make an argument that everything's failing. You can make an argument that now's the time to buy. I don't have any more money to buy anything because I bought all my stuff when it was really high. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like
I told you before.
I should dollar cost average, but like I don't want to put another $250 into cold foil commons. I already have put in a lot of money.
Leak it. Say the number. Leak it right here.
Oh, no.
And tell your wife will never watch this. It's fine.
That's true. Listen, like I don't know, man. Like I bought. For a week or two. I bought every cold foil common that was at under $300 that popped up on the market. I didn't even. At one point, I had like seven of the same one. Like, who the heck needs 7 cold foil?
Well, there's what is it?
Merchant's hoods.
1,017 left to go. You got 7 out of the 1,024. You got 1,017 left to go.
And like this is like I think a lot of people are in the same way. Yeah, I think $125 is a great deal for that. But like,
I have mine. If you want them, you have them.
I don't want more of them. I can't take more of them. And like I think that's where the fab market is. And this is why I think it's so important that new players are coming into the game and are excited about it. And this is why I want to talk about things that is this thing fun? Is this fun? Is that fun? This is why I want to talk about this stuff, because if new players aren't coming in, the old players already have this stuff. And, some of them will keep buying, but most of them apparently
Peter made an interesting comment when I talked to him at the calling. So I did a video with Peter of Min-Max Games, and he made an interesting comment about Command and Conquerors not selling this time around.
Yeah.
And the point was like, there was a rush on Command and Conquerors. So and the cool thing about Fab is if you need Command and Conquerors, once you have them, you just have them. But that means that new players just aren't picking up CNCs, right? So they're just not grabbing. They're either playing decks that don't need them, or they're playing without them because they look at the price and they're like, pass.
Or they're just getting their fake ones.
or they're just
getting their fake ones for $4.
That's true. Yeah, they're just paying for the cardboard painting. I don't know. I told you before this. I mean, we're off topic of the market. My comment's going to go so great with this. I'm going first.
I already picked it.
No, I think I picked it.
I already picked it.
No, I picked it. All right, I'll do the crazy comment section first. But before I do, I told you I'm obsessed with like Odyssey foils. right now in Magic the Gathering, and I'm wondering.
Oh,
I go through.
that's
Yeah,
what you were saying.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Wow, you bigwig.
I'm just obsessed with Odyssey. It does not reserve list or anything like that, but I
They're
think
expensive.
I think that'll come and go with Fab as well. Where it's, hey, ooh, look, foil playset of Demolish. It's not expensive, but it's just
How much
cool
does
to
that
have.
cost?
Like, I don't know, $2 each.
Oh wow, that's dirt cheap.
Yeah, that's why.
I
That's
am
why
always baffled by how cheap Magic and Pokemon cards are.
because of Fab. But I wonder if that'll happen in Fab.
I'm baffled.
I wonder if that'll happen in Fab for me, where I'm like, I'm obsessed with foil alpha razor reflexes. Like if all of a sudden I'll go through a phase where I'm like, just because there's no reason for me to be obsessed with foil Odyssey cards right now. There's just not. It's not like I started an Odyssey. There's no weird attachment there. I think they look cool. I want them. So I think there's an opportunity there for even players that are in Fab to go. I'm for this week. I'm obsessed with cold foil Goliath gauntlets. They're sweet. Now that's a much bigger investment than Demolish and Odyssey, but whatever.
The problem with that logic is that they're too hard to find. There's too little of them. You know what I mean?
Is there? Okay. Are there? I guess
there's too few of them. I mean, there's probably you can go and buy 50 of the Odyssey ones, and you'll be able to buy 50 more in a couple weeks. I mean, once the market, like
maybe, yeah.
So like, I think it's different. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I hope it's.
I'm just
like go try to find a red razor reflex right now.
Like a foil one? Yeah, I'm not gonna start doing that on stream right now.
No, there's like probably 3 of them on the market.
I ordered some foils for Legions too, just because I like foils, dude. I like foils, and Flesh and Blood's the same. I like foils. When I'm getting rid of my bulk, the one thing I will keep every foil copy of every card I own because they're cool. Foils are cool.
I'm not sure that I've ever played a game of Flesh and Blood with non-foil cards.
Trust me, I know, and it's watching some of the lines
they do extra damage. They're foil.
Watching the way you abuse some of these cards, like, wow, you have the most expensive commoner deck I've ever seen, and can't manage to pick up a win. It's like, oh, please.
It's not my fault. KO never rolls plus 4 or 5 or 5 or 6. I rolled that night. I rolled that night like 38 times, and I didn't hit a 5 or 6 on stream. There is
3 damage attacks are just the 2-cost 3 damage attacks are real.
There's documentation of that happening.
Louis just pitching 2 cards for 3 over and over and over again. So I played KO, and I played a card. It's like draw a card. It was someone else's list. It was a buddy of mine. I was like, I want to play your KO list. And I drew a card and discard a card for some card effects. I don't remember which one it was, but it was crazy brew. Like I had an empty hand, I pitched something, and I played a 6-cost attack that said draw a card and discard a card and get an additional effect if it's a 6. And it was a crazy brew. And you can hear me on stream. So the stream, the feature table is over there, and you hear me go, "What the F is this? Who the F? It's crazy brew." And he goes from across the room, "I like to roll." I like to roll. I was like, that's the most respectable answer I've ever heard. He goes, I built this deck for my girlfriend. She likes to roll dice. Gotta let her keep rolling dice.
Yeah, that's what you're all about. All the fun. Pick your card you like and put it in the deck.
I did. But you just hear in the background, who the F?
Oh, that's great.
It was bad. Okay, the closing crazy.
This is a great podcast. I want to shout out our sponsor, MinMax Games. We can talk about that dual sponsorship in my closing.
Official?
No,
I
thought that was going to be your comment. I was trying to steal your comment.
Oh, that is not my comment.
I thought we had picked the same comment. I was trying to steal it first.
No, my comment is way better. Can I go first?
Yeah, I intentionally interrupted you to steal it. So go ahead.
Wait, no, is that your comment?
We can get to it in a second, but go ahead with yours.
So my comment comes from the great Bo Scarville. Said, love this podcast, but sometimes it would be nice with a bit more structure, not going in all kinds of directions. So shout out, Bo. We structured this week's podcast just for you, dude. And I did not pick that till we were more than halfway done with this podcast, but it had to be done.
I love your response to it. Man, KitchenTableTCG just did not do a good job of keeping that giant child on topic. We failed at this week. This was all over the place. I don't know. Some people like that. Some people don't. but
I don't know.
All right, mine was min-max games thing. We can talk about that dual
You're
sponsorship.
really just gonna. You're really like, oh, my closing crazy comment is I suck up to my sponsor. Like,
It's
oh,
not
that's
like
unique.
It's not even sponsoring this.
That's
I don't think
unique.
I've
He
ever
sponsors.
been-
He sponsors
But-
Kitchen Table TCG. I thought.
Yeah, I talk about it in my videos. Yeah.
Yeah, and this. I'm sorry, this video's on Kitchen Table TCG.
He
so it
sponsors
sounds like
my
he's sponsoring.
market updates. It's in the contract that we don't have.
Dude, I'm going up to MinMax Games on Monday, tomorrow. Chat, hang out. We're gonna play some Flesh and Blood. Chat with all the awesome people up there, and I'm excited to get up there and just spend like, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes talking crap about you behind your back.
That's fine.
Like none of the stuff I'd ever say to your face.
I just kind of assume that's what all the. Never mind.
Hey, no, that's been happening to me now. I appear in videos with you, and I'm in like there are content creators soft burning me. You're soft just dunking on me for 20 minutes in your other podcast.
It's a happen. I don't know what you're talking about.
It is totally you that can't take the joke. It's totally you. It's 100% you.
Did that happen? Well, you keep bringing it up. Like, did it happen?
Who said that? Was that this podcast? Brian Pika said, can't take a joke, but we'll sure give them. We have to know. Who are you talking about?
It's 100% me. 100% me.
We have to know. We don't know.
You know why it was me? Because I can never tell when you're joking or not because your jokes aren't funny. Do you watch The Office?
Go subscribe to Kitchen Table.
Do you watch The Office?
I do. Of course I watch The Office. Yeah.
Boom roasted. Boom roasted. Jim, you're 6'8" and you have a body like Gumby. Boom roasted.
Hey, I am 6'8", and I also have the body like Gumby.
Angela, sorry, I couldn't see you over that grate of rice. Boom roasted. Dwight, you're a kiss ass. Boom roasted. Andy. Andy, you're a bigger kiss ass than Dwight.
Why is this the end of the podcast? Okay.
This episode, I used to be able to go through the whole thing. I can't do it anymore.
No. Okay.
Welcome to the absolute worst podcast ever, everyone. If you are still watching this far in, we don't need to hit subscribe or like or whatever, because I'm sure you already have.
If you're watching this far, this is deep cuts. You're a real fan. But if you haven't yet, click the sub button on Kitchen Table TCG. Guy makes awesome content, and he's only mean like 3 out of the 7 days of the week. The other 4, you catch him on good days, he's fine. Be kind to all the people around you. Remember to be kind to the people around you. Remember to be kind to the people around you.
For the record, I think your jokes are funny.
Your damage is already done.
I'm already hurt.
The ego's already destroyed. Do you have any closing? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for people for watching us. It's fun. This is fun. This is an honor to chat and to have people to listen to us. And I don't know why they do, but it's an honor. So thank you guys for watching and listening.
Yep.
I hope you're listening. I hope you're listening and not watching.
I hope you're watching. I look good. Black's a good color on me.
It is.
It is.
Black's a great color on me. It's slimming.
Is it though when it's on you?
Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you. We'll see you
But
again.
not too kind.
Remember to be kind to the people around you who aren't your friends, because friends are mean to each other.
Yep. Boom roasted.
Boom roasted.